Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Adventure DX-ish. In the last part, we continued on through Sonic's campaign, ending off at Red Mountain, hopping on to Tails' new Tornado 2, and now we're in Sky Chase Act 2, where there's more enemies that you can actually see a bit better this time around, because, whatever type of ship these are that are coming out of the egg carrier, they actually have, like, blue fire as their thrusters, just like the egg carrier itself, and it's a lot easier to see where they're coming from in a distance, on the darker background because of that. Largely, though, there's more targets, there's a lot more enemies firing at you. You can still take a lot of damage pretty quickly, which I don't think I mentioned back in the first Sky Chase. You can take damage pretty quickly in these. It's just that because of the size of the bullets on top of how quickly you can hit enemies from a distance, it's not really likely to happen, even on a first run. I think the only time I've maybe died in any of the Sky Chase acts in this game was just out of pure not paying attention to the point where I was literally not looking at the screen. I do think a level like this could really work, but pretty much any time they've attempted to do something like it outright, they've missed the mark on it. I think they're a little closer to how it should be in Unleashed with its equivalent to this, but I think it'd just be better if they decided to change perspective and just do a straight up like 2D horizontal or vertical shoot 'em up. I feel that would be a lot more interesting to play at least, especially considering you'd be a little more on your toes.
So far, so good.
Hope you know what you're doing.
You bet. Watch this! Transforming now!
Whoa!
Let's do it!
Why did it turn into a car from the Jetsons for a second there, sound-wise? What? So the Tornado 2 can actively transform into this phase. I've genuinely never been able to tell if there's an actual mechanical difference here. It feels like the aiming reticle can move a little faster, but I can't tell if that's just because either the thing itself moves faster, or if the fact there's less plane in the way of it on top of them pulling back the camera just makes it feel like it is. I'll do some research during my second pass in editing to see if I can find anything about that. I feel like there is probably no real difference, though. It's mostly just a visual storytelling kind of deal. Notably, the dragon I talked about back during the first version of Sky Chase, a couple parts back, would also have appeared in this stage, I believe, but it would have been colored blue, I want to say? Honestly, I feel like there's a more interesting version of this level where that existed. Mind you, they also sort of just reused some concepts from that, and of all things, Sonic 06, which really goes into the way of Sonic 06 really is just a failed Sonic Adventure 3 in a lot of regards, be it execution or otherwise. Because there's so many things that are just directly like, what if they tried doing things from the Adventure duology again? For now, though, it's time for an actual boss fight here. Remember how the cannon opened up and shot us at the end of the first Sky Chase? Now that cannon itself is the boss fight. It'll fire some missiles at us, but also open up to shoot its giant laser. If you just spam the machine gun fire button, though, you'll tank a hit, but you'll kill the cannon so quickly its health bar literally can't keep up. Very easy. Don't mind taking the hit unless you're super low on health. If you need to not take that hit and avoid it, just dodge up to either corner and you'll be fine. And that's Sky Chase. Pretty quick and relatively unremarkable, although I love the music there.
Alrighty, we're in!
We gotta land on the egg carrier.
Whoops. I forgot something.
What's that?
There's no landing gear in this mode.
What? Wow! This thing is really huge!
No time to gawk now. We need to find Amy.
You're right, my friend, so here we go!
I've never liked that line delivery. Welcome to the egg carrier. I love this place's music. Navigating can be a bit annoying, but it's ultimately not too bad.
Don't get too many ideas, you fools! You haven't seen the power this vessel really has! Get a load of this!
Oh, wow! It's changed shape. Did you see that?
Darn! This This makes it harder for us to get to the bridge.
I hate it when he doesn't listen.
I bet you weren't expecting this. The only way you can get to me is through the sky deck. I doubt if you can figure this one out.
Oh yeah? Well, I'll show you. Bring it on.
And thus we need to access our next level straight ahead of us. The sky deck entrance is open.
This must be the way to the sky deck.
Yes, Sonic, that's what that monitor literally just said. Okay. Always found that cutscene placement weird. Skydeck is probably one of the most dangerous levels in Sonic's campaign because a large percentage of it is played over a constant bottomless pit, so instant death is always a threat here. With that said, there's some really neat shortcuts you can do in this stage, either by using the spin dash in ways that's intentional or by doing homing attack chains. I like playing through the stage a lot. We got these rotating pillars that always feel a little weird though. You're constantly glued to the side of them, and you can jump up to go up them. But you're always stuck in a way where the control just feels kind of odd. And also, we have a lot of ladders we can climb here. I think we've technically climbed to one already to get into Ice Cap. But climbing ladders in this game is a little weird. You magnetize onto them, almost, to the point where sometimes jumping off of them is a little hard. I think you can climb them faster by just jumping constantly up on top of them. But there's times where that just feels uncomfortable enough where I don't tend to do it. One of the iffier mechanics in this stage, though, is what we see right here. We got some cranes we can grab onto. As long as you're jumping and near where the hook is, you'll grab onto it pretty safely. My biggest advice is to not move while doing the jumps, though. Just jump straight in the air, as it's very easy to overshoot or undershoot depending on what camera angle you've got going on. Sometimes this game's depth perception can be a little hard to judge for one reason or another. Right here, though, we got a section where we're going to have a gigantic cannon that's aiming and firing at us and destroying the bridges as we go. Your goal is to reach directly in front of it on the opposite end from where we start. You can start higher up on these tubes if you make a jump that I missed a few moments ago. But otherwise, your goal is to just skip the corners and get towards behind the cannon. If you spin dash here, there's not a lot of threat for the actual cannon hitting you, but if you're just trying to run past it, be careful all the same. Thankfully, the cannon turns just slowly enough after it fires where you can get some good lead in if you're not rushing, but at least being good about making some ground up. I think when you're directly in front of the cannon, though, it won't fire at you, because you gotta hit it with that. And now we're on top of the egg carrier. There are strong winds here, as the red fairy is talking about, and you can grab onto certain items to prevent the wind from blowing you around, like these little ducts here. But I don't think I've ever actually died to the wind itself, so don't really worry about that. If there is something to worry about in this specific section, it's that towards the last portion of it, there's going to be this point where we're going to see a bunch of the ships we took out during Sky Chase come out of some hatches, and then lift off. As you go through that section, certain parts of that floor fall. Here it is right here. The way they fall is just fast enough that if you're at the far end, you might want to jump to one of the parallel sections to get around there. I've died here once or twice. It's kind of disappointing, but at least there's a checkpoint literally back there. And now we got a cannon we need to destroy. Just fire a rocket in and hopefully you hit it. Usually you can make that first shot pretty comfortably. If you do miss that shot, though, you just got to try to predict where it's going and hit it from there. Now we're in the final section of the sky deck. I haven't done this portion of this level the right way in years. You go all across the deck here, but as you go, first off, there's more cranes for you to swing on, but also the camera and the stage itself shifts its orientation to be more diagonal one way or another. And you're supposed to use that to actually make certain platforms that you couldn't before, move certain platforms like the ones in front of me that will move along the tracks. But if you're good about your placement, you can do certain jumps in such a way where you can reach the capsule a little earlier than you're meant to, like so. Albeit you have to contend with the stage rotating one more time to get you down towards the switch you're supposed to hit right before the main end of the stage. I don't think I've done this section of the stage the main way you're meant to, probably since, like, 2013. Because once I figured out I could do this, I just always do it. Yes. Makes for a good time bonus, if memory serves. That Skydeck, though, I'd say it's probably the first hard level in Sonic's playthrough no matter what, and it's probably one of the hardest stages in the campaign period just for the amount of potential instant death there is due to the bottomless pits, on top of the fact if you miss a homing attack or a jump in some cases, you're just careening down pretty quickly.
Is that it?
It might be, but let's check out the bridge.
Welcome to the interior of the egg carrier, where I can finally talk about a mechanic I've been kind of holding off on for a while. We've heard them mention things called Chao Gardens before from some of the NPCs. If you go to this door and input the password Eggman, the door up there opens and you gain access to one of said Chao Gardens. There's, I think, what, 3 or 4 different entrances to them throughout the game. One at the hotel, one right near Tails' house, one here, and I think there's one elsewhere. It might just be 3. Chao Gardens are where you raise your Chao. You can put them either into your VMU on the Dreamcast version or into your GBA on the GameCube version to help them raise stats, take them out as you go, but you can also just show them animals that you get from badniks around the game to raise their stats, which you can then use them in certain minigames to get more emblems for completion. If you want to do 100%, you need to do this stuff. This is the only time I'm showing this off in the LP. For now, at least, I could see myself in a couple of years just out of wanting to fill out a checklist. Doing a follow-up LP to this where I do all the emblems I don't do during the main story. A lot of people really like the Chao Gardens, especially in Sonic Adventure 2. Especially considering your Chao gets cuter and will gain traits depending on how you train it. That changes its appearance. I've never liked it too much myself, but that's because games like this that are all about raising a pet don't really click with me to begin with. I'm never going to decry their existence. I know a lot of people have been wanting them to make a mobile game out of this for years at this point. I'm really surprised they haven't, just for the potential money in that. Plus, doing the Chao Gardens does technically reward playing the game's main stages over and over again, as that's one of the main ways you get ways to level up your Chao. You might notice, though, there's 2 distinct colors that happen as I give an animal to one of my Chaos. Yellow means that stat is increasing, and every single large block is a group of 10 on the smaller blocks. But some animals will raise stats while also lowering another stat. For instance, a lot of these birds I have will raise the flight meter of this Chao, but lower the power meter. So sometimes the way you might want to do Chao Garden stuff is just min-maxing and putting it all into one Chao, but if you have multiple Chao, you can get the things you want to get done that way by having one focused on a specific subset of abilities. Notably, every single Chao Garden in the game, I believe, has one Chao just in it automatically for you to hatch from an egg, and the way you hatch it is by throwing the egg all over the place. Just don't throw it into the water like my one friend did once upon a time. I want to say there's something on top of that missile in the distance, by the way, which I believe is actually the direct inspiration for Eggman's base in Sonic X. I like the Chao Gardens themselves visually, it's just never really clicked with me as a mechanic, but I can completely understand why people adore the hell out of this. But until I eventually do that follow-up LP years down the line, that's the last we're seeing of it. Like I said, back in the day, you could either put them onto your VMU or put them into a copy of Sonic Advance 1 or 2 on the Game Boy Advance to boost their stats while they weren't actively at your GameCube, and I think that's pretty neat. Again, probably could do really well with a mobile game nowadays. Really surprised they haven't. Our next destination, though, is back on the deck of the ship, so get on this motion and sickness-inducing spinner, and you reach the cutscenes.
Sonic!
Ha! They're too late!
Not the birdie! Chaos Emerald! No way!
Be gone, all of you! This is all I really need! Gather!
What is your wish, Master Robotnik?
Get rid of these pests! Show them what you've got!
Aye, aye, sir.
And don't disappoint me, or else!
Time for another character battle against Gamma. Unlike Knuckles, he'll run around a little more and hit you from a distance using his gun. But again, 3 shots and he's down pretty quickly. The character battles in this series are a joke.
Step aside, Amy! Out of my way!
No! This robot is my friend! He helped me! Don't hurt him!
Okay, whatever you say. You must have your reasons.
Hey, the ship is losing altitude!
Hurry, Tails! Take Amy and get out of here!
Well, what about you?
I'll find that Eggman and put him out of commission!
But hear me out, Sonic. What if we go talk with them all first? And now we can play as Gamma.
Are you okay?
That notably means we have every single character unlocked for play now. And if you wanted to, you could go do them in any order once again.
The egg carrier's losing altitude!
I forget the exact reason why that's technically happening from one of the other storylines.
Auto recovery system activated.
Glad he's taking his loss in pretty good stride. I'm really looking forward to talking about Gamma's campaign, because that's one of the more interesting ones.
If I'm to continue, I need to change this ship back to its original shape. There must be a switch somewhere on the bridge. I've got to find it now.
As a kid, I was really confused on why they couldn't proceed with the bridge a certain way versus another while on the egg carrier while the form change is active. But they kind of hide why in the cutscene where it transforms. They show the wings moving and all that, but if you look carefully, like, the bridge moves a good several meters up, and pathways to it just get completely restricted. I'm kind of surprised there's no camera mod for this game specific that actually shows that change a little more clearly. Now, before we actually press the switch we need to in order for progress, which was back in the room I jumped on the chair in a moment ago, we come in here, we can find Eggman's bedroom and an emblem. I find this room incredibly funny. And also, if you go next door, there's his little, like, fun chair and little gambling machine, but he's also got a little, like, children's rider, the Egg-O-Matic. And there's something about that I just find adorable. Eggman, when you're not just being a villain, you're a really funny character. So I really like what they did with him in Frontiers, and I hope whatever the next game is, they kind of follow up on that angle a little more. In order to progress, though, stand on the chair properly and step on the switch that gets revealed whenever you get on it.
Emergency alert has been cancelled. Resuming monorail operation.
Yeah, it's that weird little yellow bit above the main cannon that hides the actual movement going on there in a way that's like, come on guys, you probably could have just moved the camera up a little bit for us to see that. Be nice to see a remake of this game for several reasons, but a little more clarity on things like that would especially be very nice to see. For now, though, let's go back towards where the tornado was and apparently see some sort of cutscene.
Oh no! Not again! Chaos! Could this be the same beast?
Oh yes! Attack Sonic now!
Froggy? I must say Froggy!
If he's your friend, I'll help you. Just leave it to me.
Now I have 6 of the Chaos Emeralds. There's only one more left to find. I even found Chaos's missing tail.
You won't get away with this, you madman!
I will. You're no match for Chaos, even though he's not perfected yet. Okay, Chaos. Destroy them all immediately.
One of my favorite boss themes in the game. I love this song. So Chaos 6. Your homing attack cannot actively damage them. Instead, you need to rely on Eggman to help you here accidentally. He drops these ice mines that'll send out a freezing mist, but if you homing attack them or hit them in some form, sometimes when they just land, they'll malfunction. You can pick them up with the spin dash button and then throw them into Chaos 6, at which point you can damage him with a homing attack. Notably, if you use the light speed attack that you got before Red Mountain, it actively registers as 2 hits rather than 1, so you can actually finish this fight in 2 shots rather than 4 if you do that. Although something I should note, whenever you charge up a light speed, a dash, or attack to begin with, the little orbs of energy that fly into you, those actively do count as a hitbox, so you can destroy enemies or hit switches with those, and I believe that can even damage Chaos 6 here. This attack is weird, and has always reminded me weirdly of Baronade from Ocarina of Time. Based on my memory, though, I believe I was wrong earlier in the LP, and I probably already stated as such in my little post-edits, where I thought Tails' playthrough was the earliest you could unlock Big. No, if you didn't unlock him at the point we did in this LP, you would unlock him at this whole set of events right here. So you can unlock every single character within Sonic's campaign outside of Sonic himself because he's unlocked by default. That boss fight is rather uneventful, although I love the music and I love the design of it.
No way! I can't believe this!
Sonic! Hey there, Knuckles! Glad you finally made it! I thought you got lost or something.
Until we meet again, Sonic!
Stop! Come back here!
Sonic, the last time you fell off the egg carrier in any kind of regard, you almost died, so I'm not sure if jumping off's the best idea. But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 6, we're gonna chase down Eggman and see where he leads us. See you guys then.